All right, Kim says we're good to go with the online portion. Can't see it on the screen yet, so we'll go ahead and call this into order. Did everybody got a chance to sign in? Except Paul.
This way. Oop, there's one. Ask.
Hopefully everybody got some semblance of handouts or have digital ones to refer to. Sure. Yeah, so then our first item to approve the minutes from our last meeting. And then support to approve the minutes for February. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. So approved. Next on the agenda is our first opportunity for public comment. Do we have any public online?
Just our, other, EPAs. Yeah.
Okay, hearing no public comment, then our next item is to approve the agenda.
So,
Support to approve the agenda. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
aye.
Any opposed? Agenda is approved. Right on through. Discussion item. Primarily just have a progress report on the digital plan. Slides to share or just
No.
updates?
Um,
So MMP 101 brief update, is that from the meeting that we had?
yep, yeah, so just the update on that was simply that it went really well. And we had a really good turnout. I think we had roughly how many municipalities show up? Yeah, I think over 20 show up. Sorry, last time I looked at it, switched. So yeah, really well. We had some really good questions asked at the meeting. I think, really well. I think we'll have to, I think our next step will be going to individual municipalities and then, essentially just going to the next step, which is the deep dive. So, and then just presenting the next level of engagement with municipalities. So, I think the follow-up part, we were hoping for a little bit more engagement with the survey that we sent out afterwards. We didn't get much on that. But that shows you their level of engagement afterwards, so. Which we're not totally surprised in when they don't really fully understand, because it was a very high level 101, what you guys saw, so. So yeah, but we have one municipality that's very highly wanting to be involved, so. Yeah.
Which one is that?
Allendale. But I think in her previous job, in her previous, like area, they have a very extensive like program. It was North Carolina. What county was it, James?
Wake County.
Wait, yeah, like it was extensive. Like if you go on their website, Wake County, it was, yeah, like they had like solar panel covered area, and we looked at it too. There's some things that's definitely worth looking into for like drop offs and that kind of stuff, so. But yeah, so. Yeah, that's all we're at. It was a good turnout. It was impressive, the number that we had. We weren't expecting that many, so. It was just, yeah, it was nice to see that many people come out. And then the survey final report. Which a lot of you are wanting to see. We're gonna do that at our next meeting in April. And I'm gonna have, our, Jarrell, our lead epi, come and kind of present it. That way, if you have like serious deep dive epi type questions that I can't answer, they can answer it versus like the last time with the overhead, you know, when I did I couldn't answer all those questions. So, so that last question I sent out, if you can get answer that for me. I know, I think I had one response and it was like, oh, that looks good. You can like kind of answer that. And I think some of the questions that we're doing today, he'll tie some of that, what we're doing today, kind of into it. That will also help. So exercise today. And then that last question, which kind of leads today too, will help. And then we're gonna look into some like other studies out there as well, some like articles and research that's been out there too. I think we're gonna try to do that as well into the final report. It'll be a lot more extensive probably than some of the other ones that I've seen out there to try to help us. I think it's what we're gonna try to do in the final report. So based on what my discussions and with our epi team. So kind of like, hey, this is a study that didn't work for someone. And this is a study that, based on your goal sets, that did work for someone. So that's why we don't have it quite yet. We wanted to make sure that it has a direction, or if we're leading in this direction with our goals, that we have either something that worked or didn't work somewhere else, maybe. So,
Tim, just to clarify, so the one question you're looking for feedback on is,
yeah,
do you want, there are questions you believe the current survey data could already answer that one? The one that came out Friday's email?
yes, I had bolded, I made it separate so that it was a little bit more
Yeah, so
obvious.
the bold.
Yeah, so say the question one more time so I can
Alright,
make sure.
Are there questions you believe the current survey data could already answer but haven't been surfaced yet? What would you want to see pulled from it, particular insights that could directly inform a program, decision, or action?
Yes, so that could answer that hasn't answered essentially. So I think could answer that hasn't answered. So like, I think that could lead to something. So if there's something else that you want from it, I think is it, like, I think it's what they're getting at. So like trying to think how Epi worded it. So is there something that you thought that should have been answered? So if you were like, oh, I just thought this was gonna be there, you know, like there's that one piece of that one question or that one goals that like, oh, we were looking for multi-recycling and I didn't see that little piece of something. Or, you know, when I looked at all this information in that preliminary data, I didn't see that little, you know, statistical piece or something that we should have had. I think that kind of bit, you know, is what they're looking at. Or let's say Hopeton Township or City of Holland, they're like, well, I don't see that there's any data-based or proof that in my area, you know, being close to a landfill or having, you know, my contract that would disprove or prove that having this would help me, or, you know, having those types of things, you know, that one step further would matter. I think it's like those type of things that they're asking, is if you're saying that we're trying to propose these types of goals or something like that. You know, those types of things, you know, if those are the types of goals or possible goals we're gonna have, you know, that kind of items.
I just have to admit something, is that I think I'm confused. Because
Yeah.
I think I read all of the documents that you've sent.
Mhm.
And I feel like I've seen like PowerPoints with information about what they, what was
Yeah.
asked and answered.
Mhm.
but I'm having a hard time answering that particular question
Yeah.
because I don't have the data in a format that
Yeah.
would allow me to do that kind of critical thinking or
Yeah.
analysis.
Yeah,
So,
and maybe that's what today might help, and maybe,
Okay.
yeah,
and I,
No, I was saying exactly.
yeah,
okay, that's why I wanted to articulate it because
Yeah.
I think that when I see the data in that format, I am gonna have like 12 questions.
Yeah.
My guess,
yeah,
I asked for the survey questions, so I could wrap my head.
Yeah.
After the survey. I would have asked it this way, I would have asked it this way.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah,
I know
you know
that's in the past, so we gotta do what we've got today.
I did forget to send the questions out, that was part of what I was supposed to do too. I was doing like, I will admit, I was doing,
no, it's.
I
not.
was
That's
supposed to
what
send
I'm
it-
Too, cause
Yeah.
cause I want to participate and be,
Mhm.
try and be helpful, but
Yeah.
I'm not quite
yeah,
like.
I struggle also. with,
Yeah.
This is what you should ask. I would rather say, okay, throw this out there. Okay, maybe we need to
yeah.
you know.
Today after the
do
meeting,
this or something.
I'll send the questions out, I was supposed to send the questions out as well.
Okay,
I was supposed to do that. That was my fault.
Okay.
I was doing, I'm not sure if you saw, it was at the end of the day and I was talking to Trista too, and I was doing 50 things. And the one thing I didn't send was the questions. Yes.
I'm just making sure I didn't
No.
miss something.
Yeah, and I did send the EPI team the goal setting item document that we did today, and they're like, that also helped them a lot too, seeing that we're driving towards this goal, and they thought that was very helpful too.
Okay,
So again, it's one of those things when you're working with 50 teams to try to do one item and trying to get them all to understand that the objective. It's really, it's hard because they're from a different realm. So driving it one team to one goal is a lot easier. 50 teams to one goal is a little bit trickier. So I understand the confusion. So,
So there's not.
Yeah.
Is there an opportunity for additional feedback from the public? Like, some of what I want to know.
oh yeah,
To
that's,
Or I'm like, I want to know the reasons why people are participating.
that's why EPI's coming. So like this, just because we're doing the final, doesn't mean it's the final. We can revise it, and that's why EPI's coming. So on that,
So they have that
Monday.
information.
they could talk about it, like, so, yeah. So that's for the feedback. So, and this is like one of the questions that we're gonna ask is what other surveys can stem from this? And that could be, those types of things. So I'm not an EPI expert. There's like the purity of a survey and all that, so that's why EPI will be here in April. So, yes. And if you can't answer the question based on, I think the goal setting part will be really important. So adding this to their will be, so if you can't answer it, I'd just say, hey, I can't answer it based on this. If I give you the questions and you feel like that helps you answer it, so be it. If not, just say, hey, I don't think I can answer it. I think that'll help them. So. But. Yes, and then goal work session following this meeting. So we're trying to get through this part quicker. Not quicker, but obviously it's not fully elaborate. Let's chat and make plans, because after this is our goal work session, which will also be open to the public, which we don't really have any besides those who are online, which I will still have it available online and recorded. So, but yes, so that is all I have. The work session will be led by Molly. She will be leading it for us, our consultant. And the idea is that we will come out with our lead kind of like out of, I think, how many, that was 15, based on our initiatives that we did a while back. And we'll do an activity to kind of really lock down 5 or 6 of them that we strongly feel upon, and then kind of drive that way. So questions on that, we can work on that during the goal session. That is all I have for the items. one thing I don't have on there is I talked yesterday, at the end of the day, about possibly doing a kind of like a branding or a logo for this. So when we have items that come from this committee, that it kind of represents all of you, so that we have like a single voice that way, because we've had some issues of like, well, what logo to put on items or what discussion, what represents us all as a group. So we'll have like a little item maybe too, you might get an email about, so if you are like, what's this? It's because, we want something to represent, Padnos Airways, this group's initiative, so. So if you get something about like, hey, what do you think about this? That's what that is. Side note. Yeah, well, it's still gonna be MMPC, Ottawa County, but it'll be a little Team Awesome,
Go to.
Go team. So,
Any other questions for Kim on the item?
very quick, throw it at you.
Okay, so then we'll move into any committee member updates before we.
I guess the only thing that I would share that may come into, I guess, some of the goals or something that we're talking about, that we have recently expanded a little bit in the Muskegon area. We started with a purchase of a company up there, and they're kind of in like some of the Fruitport area. We have expanded our recycling services then even further into Muskegon counties. But we also have closed that last little tip of Ottawa County. So that area kind of in the very northeast of Ottawa County. We do offer recycling in that area as well now. So now we do offer recycling throughout the entire county of Ottawa. So curbside is back. It's great. So
Yeah, perfect.
I have a question. So you say curbside's available, so that's a cart.
Yep.
And then are you also doing, 8-yard dumpster type single stream?
We have some commercial front load available in like Ottawa County, but not the entire county. So more of, like the populated county or part of the county, I would say, like the Holland, Hudsonville, Geneston area, Allendale. There's some commercial front load, but not the entire county because there's a lot of rural areas.
Not as densely populated
Yeah.
as we would like.
But residentially, cart at the curb, it is available throughout all of our county.
Flat rate for everybody.
It's based on route density, where they're at, and,
We have some big news. I wanted to share at the last meeting, but it didn't look, it was actually, our last meeting is always on a Wednesday, we have council meeting at night, so I can't bring it. Anyway, last month, our, recycling center funding, passed city council. What that means is Padnos has gifted us a piece of property next to their facility on Chicago Drive to build a drop-off charm facility for regular and hard recycled items. And it's gonna be also a processing center or some level of processing center. We will be working closely with Padnos and other members of the committee and, I guess I'm saying, since I got you in front of me, I can't tell you the amount of, gratefulness that the entire staff and council members have come forth that this has been a long time coming, before my time, that they wanted this. So, and I will say that Kim and I are working very closely on how to work together to make this an extreme benefit for all of our residents, not just the residents involved. So that's our goal. So, we understand after looking at Goodwill and Herman Miller that volume is key. That's not just material, but people understanding education. How do we recycle? What is recycling? Is recycling real? All those things. We want this center to not just be a drop-off center, but also be the answer. When people call in, We may not take it, we know where you can. Or we can say, no, I just at this point can't.
Congrats. Yeah.
Thank you. And my life got a lot busier overnight.
You ever projected groundbreaking?
We will, once, I'm actually in the process now of researching the actual size of the building. We've had it preliminary, but there's some things I need to, yeah. We will, so not groundbreaking, but I know we're targeting. If you listen to council, it's pretty conservative, but actually we're looking at probably a year and a half. It's a pretty simple.
There's still a lot of things you have to get through, right? Like there's the site plan and the design build process and environmental, which is a brownfield site, so we gotta make sure everybody's comfortable with that.
Just so they're off and running on that already. Yeah.
I'm sure they are.
They are moving.
I'm very confident it'll go through,
Yeah.
but there's a lot of steps. Once all of those steps though are behind us, the building is gonna pass. Few months.
It's a big deal. I know you've been working on it for a couple of years.
So I took this job. My task force said this is what we want. That would be easy.
Advancing the plan already. You don't even have a plan.
Oh, there you go.
We just make this the plan.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's just.
Yeah, yeah. Boom, done.
Well,
done now.
we should at least get credit for,
Well, what's
the
on the
improvement, right? Like,
Yeah.
oh, volume.
That's exactly right.
On the right side, so.
I mean, it wouldn't have happened without this group. That's a fair thing to say, because I mean, maybe it would have, but, because Dan and I were already talking, but
Yeah.
this definitely helped. It helped me make the argument for the Padnos family, right? That this is happening, something, somebody's got to create something for Ottawa County, so it might as well be us.
Right.
So
Why not?
That's perfect.
we get to take credit, all of it.
I didn't use this group as an excuse, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Help me. Not easy to get, a lot of family members on the same page.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lock them in a room.
Which I did.
Public comment. Public comment. The prayer motion to adjourn. Right. Anybody would like a quick break before we get into the planning session or goals session?
Break anyone? Break? Are you good?
Yeah. Good to go.
Let's jump right into it.
Let's do it.
So for the few of you that don't know me, I am Molly Sherwood. I work with Fleece and Vandenbrink Engineering out of Grand Rapids. I am an Ottawa County resident, lived plan. The plan has a certain number of things that are required, and the first page of your packet lists a bunch of those. Things like increasing recycling to match the state's recycling standards, increasing organic landfills, having an education plan, doing a full assessment of all of the facilities within the county, things like that. We pulled those out because those are going to be automatic. Those have to be in the plan, but we're looking for some extra stuff. Part of what we're looking at are actions that can help drive participation, that can help drive diversion within to meet those targets. So what can we do to increase recycling? What can we do to increase organics diversion? And what can we do to improve the overall diversion of waste from landfill within Ottawa County? So the goals that we presented are ones that Kim and her staff came up with based on the initiatives that this group put together a few months ago. They are by no means all the possibilities. So this is where I want to draw on your expertise. A lot of you that are in this industry have a green, there's orange, there's pink. Green stickers are go. Green is go. Those are the things that you think we should definitely pursue. The orange stickers are in between. Those are the things that are good ideas, but maybe not right now. Things we might want to table for later in the development of this plan, or maybe for the next cycle of the plan that comes around 5 years from now. And the pink ones are a hard stop. Those are things that you do not feel it's worth pursuing now, or maybe not ever. It's just not really in the best interest of the county to get into that world. So what I want to do, I'm going to give everyone a sheet of stickers, and I'm going to give you guys about, I don't know, however long it takes, but hopefully you had a chance to look through these goals. On the tables over here to the side, all of them are printed out on individual pieces of paper. You can stick your stickers on the ones you like and dislike and maybe like. There's also Post-it notes. So take a pen with you. If you have ideas or thoughts that are not included in these goals that you want us to look at or consider, put the Post-it note on there. And others of you, if you see something on a Post-it note that resonates with you, you can vote for something on a Post-it note. But take your time going through this, and have some fun with it. And at the end, what we should come up with is some focus on where we want to put our energy. And we will then have some time to discuss those individual goals and what it might look like within the plan, and how we might want to proceed. Questions from anyone?
Question.
Yes.
If there are parts of the goal, like the overall goal may be something that, you know, is something we're interested in or pursuing further, but then there are parts of the goal or, things that maybe don't belong or don't agree with, like, how would you go about looking at that?
If the overall goal is something that makes sense, but the specifics of it don't work for you or for anyone else, we're gonna have a chance to go through them. So when we come up with our 5 or 6, we're gonna spend time on each one of them today. That's when you can voice concerns about individual parts of that goal. If you have other ideas about ways to pursue that goal, those can come out and we'll start to work through that process. These are not set in stone. The language is not set in stone. The components within those goals are not set in stone. This is a starting point. And we definitely want everyone's input into the specifics of how these goals get implemented. That's going to be the next step.
So it would still be green, not orange.
It will still be green. Yes.
So the first page, first 6 that are listed, those are the ones that are specifically in part 115 that say plus one happen.
Yes.
All the rest are just optional things.
Yes.
Number 7 is not.
Yeah, number 7, which is the first one in the next section about doing a review of infrastructure. That one also is moved into the required.
It used to be A1,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Email A1.
Oh, okay.
but yes.
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 I'm gonna re-email that one to you guys. I updated the handout version. Yeah.
I was like, I was wrong, like, great. I don't have it.
Yeah.
Okay, so I didn't realize.
So are you doing stickers for the first 7 if they have?
The first 7, you're not doing stickers on. Those get an automatic, those have an automatic pass through because those have to be completed.
Yeah, the verbiage might be, when we write it into the plan might be different slightly but essentially.
Right, and in a perfect world, you pursue everything, but but you can't, and for a lot of different reasons. Primary reasons, one, financial. all of these things that the county pursues, we have to have a plan for how they are going to work financially. Whether it be, public funding, private funding, grant funding, whatever the model is. The second, the second thing to keep in mind is everything that we get written into this plan needs to be approved. It will have to be approved at the township level, and it will have to be approved at the county level. So bear in mind, different townships, the county itself has, what I consider political will. They have their own ideas about what should happen, how it should happen, and, it doesn't make sense to put a lot of altruistic things into this plan if there's no chance we're ever going to get it approved.
So, as I like, just for example, I was reading number 2, which is your annex conversion, funding target. And then if you look at, I think there's a second here with annex. So are most of these goals, they're kind of tied to 7, right? So, for example, in this one, there was one that talked about 50% conversion of landfill, this was 30%. To really staying within these 7 goals and making adjustments to our vision within these 7, or is it something completely different than the 7?
Yeah, the higher diversion goal is in there as it basically would be a way for the county to set a goal that's higher than the state is requiring. However that looks.
I see it as like, you wanna go above and beyond, you know,
Could, for example, this community composting hub, if we say organics diversion tonnage is X, well, there's mechanisms, having a food waste reduction and a community compost. These are the sub goals kind of within that goal, how to achieve it
Yes,
versus creating brand new goals that aren't in the law, right?
correct.
Okay, that's the way I was seeing it playing out, but.
Yes.
It's clarifying.
The goals that you are voting on are basically mechanisms to meet the requirements within the plan for diversion and education and all of those things.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts before I set you free to stick stickers? I mean, this is the best, most fun you're gonna have all day, honestly. Doesn't love stickers, right? Sorry.
did you hit on the fact that they're timed? Did I miss that?
3 minutes.
Okay.
When did you go? I mean, I'm not going to force you to do this quickly. I want you to be able to think about it. If you haven't had a lot of time to go through this before the meetings, give it some thought. I don't want to cut anybody short and have you taking, feeling you have a deadline to pick things. This is, but my thought is, maybe 15 minutes.
We were well prepped by Kim.
Well, that's what I said, like,
I try my hardest.
She
If
said,
they
you guys
do
be
their
ready.
homework, if they do their
Or
homework,
else.
they should be
That's
ready. They should be ready.
Well, 5,
So, any thoughts? Joe, you're ready.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
My homework. Yeah.
Well done, thank you.
I know everyone else did too.
Wonderful.
I
I love it when students do their homework.
Yeah. I did have A1 as green. Now it's throwing off all my notes.
Now you get to pick another one.
Right.
All right, so there, everything is out on the tables. They are grouped by area. The biggest one on the left is our residential recycling, and then we've got business and organics and communications and education. And all the things.
I was reading through it.
Molly, so just, so we go goal 1, we're gonna decide to put green on this and,
You don't have to, you do not have to put a sticker on everything.
oh, okay.
Yeah, so-
Whatever we think.
Yeah, yeah, and you don't have to use all your stickers. Ideally, you will not use all of your stickers, because I'd like you to use all the greens. I'd like you to each pick at least 5.
It's understandable.
Yeah.
It's just it's a trash bag. So I think that's important. I put that green and I put C8 because that's C8.
Yeah, well, they're each one is like,
Oh,
you get an individual page for each
Okay.
one, so it makes it a little easier. You're very organized. I appreciate that. You're gonna label your stickers.
See, that's how I would think too, though, so.
Oh, do they?
Yeah, and the sheets are printed out there. You just,
Okay.
you find it on the table and give
Okay.
it your sticker.
No, they're not.
That is well organized,
Organized student.
like both beyond students.
Further over here.
Yeah, I think it's, well, I guess it depends. We're gonna find it. So if it's got one, probably not. One of the rank on the Oscar is the whole way down. Sports, you can give it. It's also points. Sorting sourcing. Negative. I'm a numbers person, so. Yes, yeah. There's gonna be a little blur. Because that's what we're gonna post it. Sentences like. I
feel like I have to keep them.
So I guess you don't have to use them all. We're not gonna quite use them all, right?
Oh,
Busy.
Yeah.
Busy. Two. Me. On my own, kind of doing it. I've got some help from, Matt Violet.
Yeah.
But, he's busy doing that.
he likes that stuff.
Oh, boy, he does.
Yeah, I think we talked about that early on with the township about getting parents.
That's what we were thinking.
Yeah.
And somebody said that, and we think that's our motion.
Yeah. They didn't, because I remember when we talked to your cousin, you didn't think.
That's the only thing I think pointed out is that.
So you have until 12.
Yes. 10, 12, yeah.
Once for hydration, yeah.
Oh, okay.
That's great.
Yes, not quite that bad.
Check your heart rate.
Where'd you get that?
The sheet.
Yeah.
Just amazing how busy this building is today. Good that you found a room.
It's, water's coming. It's not something fast yet. Yeah, no, I know that water goes rapid.
I would assume like East Grand Rapids.
Yeah.
It's dropped off at the end. They have something.
Usually, I mean, it depends on the system, right? Because it can, may or may not have a beat on the system.
I know Kent County was looking at trying to do something with the, with certain points where it takes you, where it's there, you have to pay for subscription or something. Sure.
There's a lot that
So
I have to,
I have that.
in my mind, it's like.
Yeah.
It's, no, like I come from St. Paul.
Right.
But,
Like that.
well, I mean, but
But
it's easy,
Yeah, these-
but,
I don't know why I go so that's why
well, I don't
That's
put
what
beef
I-
in my home consoles for a variety of reasons, right? So, like in theory,
It's great.
if there was a service control, but I would never put compost on a charge, right, someplace, like, I would never do that, but people do it, like, they.
So that's what I was kind of
They
wondering.
have their buckets and they, I mean, I would never do it for.
I don't know. I think it would, but I think it
No,
was-
not
so much.
We only empty,
Right.
one of my
Sitting on the
covers is
counter,
It's.
all the yellow they come up to.
then you eat very healthy. Good for you.
Well, maybe too much is going in.
I have to get it.
I'm not eating it
I
up.
told him I get it done this week. I'm gonna tell him that it's gonna.
I know.
I've done a really bad job with my stickers.
That required.
I don't know, my notes got all messed up because I had it very caption and then. I know that. I'm not, I'm just. not
Sorry, I didn't
getting
use all my name.
Because I think I'm confused. That's okay.
I was gonna
I heard it go in, looking at myself, look to see if it's one church came to two.
Yeah,
Yes, that's somebody's fault in this room.
So.
I think it's Paul's fault.
Again.
Everywhere I go, I look to see if there's one trash can or two. And that's just started like the last 2 weeks. So thanks whoever did that to me.
And they're all at hand in that.
I count how many
Everywhere I
different
go.
colors are in my neighborhood. Every week.
Then you start getting to the point where you're going to the hotel and seeing the recycling bin, and then as you pass by the where the dumpsters are.
Oh,
like, really?
Right.
I
Where's that
actually do
going?
that.
I do too.
One truck.
That's not-
Right, one truck, yeah. A long time, gotcha.
Yeah, I do. I have emailed the hotel for a while.
Yeah, we got cardboard recycling. Same trash.
You're not that way.
That's both of them. Oh, come on.
Like, especially when they have them blind.
What happens? Yeah.
Hilton's got a few.
Oh, it's great.
I don't know if it'll, you'll probably get deleted anything once I.
No, I will tell you that the surprise I've had most recently with that sort of thing has been on Delta Airlines. They have actually legitimately upped their sustainability game. Legit. Yeah, especially if you get fortunate enough to get upgraded to first class, then you really notice it. It's like, no plastic bottles, it's a glass, it's like dinner served on a plate, real, you know, I don't ever pay for Christmas, just to be clear, but if I get upgraded,
I used to get a bag of pretzels, it's about it.
Yeah, yeah.
no, it was.
Slowly coming.
You're lucky to get back.
Yeah.
And the last time I flew internationally and got upgraded to business class, they gave me like a little care kit
Okay.
that was all made with used fabric and sustainable products inside of it, like, you know.
Okay, we're gonna tally up the dots, so you guys talk amongst yourself.
Oh, I want to know how hearing gets up here.
We'll reveal
I
the-
keep trying to get
the
up.
winners.
Never got upgraded. What's your trick?
Well, usually it's because they screwed something up and I use that as leverage.
You probably gotta get there, probably gotta get there early. Okay. I
Yeah,
like to get to the gateway. Just as the road.
1 minute.
Yeah.
Or-
They have no reason to get there early.
Right.
yeah, the last time, I forget what was going on.
Oh, pretty difficult.
Something was going on, everything got screwed up. Oh, it was some form of southeast, and that, like, they couldn't just pilot to the GRR. And I stopped by the counter and said, well, I'm on my way to go to the rental car. To drive to Detroit, to get me out of Grand Rapids. Will you just check really quick before I do this? And on flight to work. And I got to
Yeah,
San Diego.
yeah, those are
As much as I can.
mostly,
Yeah.
yeah. So, yes.
Me either, and I'm still really learning, having my miles established, but I just would like to have.
We're not doing this.
PSA stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
These things.
PSA stuff.
Yeah, they went to Florida, but they're roommates.
And then we have a
Definitely
definitely,
storm from that.
Yeah. A lot of money. Yeah.
then we have some other gap here.
Can't get back.
Oh, it's ready.
I guess it's better. Can't get binoculars.
So.
Well, unless they give you the pilot there, like I have the problem, the pilot was up because when he's coming in from Guardia. Yeah, they need a pilot. there.
But we got a lot of.
We have.
Well, that's, so.
At
one time.
Yeah.
So.
I abandoned all this other stuff you have to say.
Sometimes it's just. And sometimes.
Five, I mean. So I think.
It is, it's gonna be a problem. But
I just want you to.
This
doesn't have to sound right.
well, and even then.
I should, yeah.
They were careful. Together and.
The whole group.
Yeah.
Yes, yes. Totally.
It's either gonna go like this.
So I said, I own.
Something.
Concerns.
I have that.
It's sad when we start talking.
Yeah.
The amazing. There's, this is what we did, so, and we just want to let much. Especially. The business. Yeah. It doesn't matter.
Yeah. Right, and, you have to weigh in.
Yes.
Pretty obvious.
Probably the biggest. I mean,
That's kind of.
Like, conservation, like,
The age of trying to fail.
You just hear about it. Just hear how to do it. How it-
Right.
how it- Yeah, just do it.
Right, so you want, you want.
Now my kids do it.
And then you build to apply towards.
Go back.
Right. That's sensitive, you know, that's basically, you know, just sharing.
Yes.
No, I'm just.
You can decide that.
That's where they will get.
The part of
larger and
or the donating.
Yeah, this one is.
Force it.
So, yeah. That is the worst thing.
And that piece of
So,
property.
just to give you a heads up.
well,
You should be way the. I mean,
with my kids.
it's not like they don't roll. Not straight about it because the logic split is where service road is and connecting. Yeah.
Yeah.
The plan now is the biggest.
These are different ways of.
Yeah, but he's not.
Not logical, right?
Just want to make sure. What's that? Yeah, that's right.
What's the
Oh, it's just to make sure that, you know.
Well, and we are.
You're not sure.
But they're all gonna be.
But all right. What we're concerned about is still.
Because they provide service to the Democrats.
Yeah.
We don't. So like I said, their side.
It's not,
Yeah.
So like the city of Rapids.
a little bit.
Yeah.
It'll be great.
Yes.
We don't have the.
See, that's what.
I mean, I just, what, just because I was thinking it's.
It's still their concern is valid.
That's gonna be done.
But.
So.
Those will be the.
No, you're wrong. I got it.
Does your plan. It's good for me.
It holds up the package.
My goal is never to come in thinking like callers, but finding.
But, and people are gonna have to get used to it.
Everybody in their club is. I don't respect it.
Drive by.
Plan is. Or they're holding.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
When you do the print days, you don't.
I know.
Never had a problem. No.
Sometimes it's just.
So it is right.
Yeah. Yeah. So sometimes it's. So Harlan does, Parks does three, Fort Sheldon, Hills.
So they ain't gonna need that. It's gonna be something.
Usually we have two times sure. And we split the cost. Townships based on.
Well, good. How long have you been doing this work?
I started in 2020, but then I was elected, but yeah, really started
Yeah.
in 2023.
It's
It's for
EOD.
townships.
Then you can
Wasn't that.
a little bit of time.
I have a few technology companies. Large part of that.
Seriously?
Yeah, well, it's kind of such area.
He was driving to Muskegon.
As those kind of
Deadly.
things. That would be a really.
Yes,
Appreciate it. It's a decent, like, yeah.
People sometimes just need a reason to go into
That's
that.
too smart for
Right, like, and yeah, it's great.
I'm worried that he green up, but he uses smart. But so you gotta really good here. He was.
Yeah.
You get signs on the road,
Okay, guys, the results are in.
No.
Yeah.
It's it.
You bet that's really.
Yeah. All right, you got one.
I'm dialing it back.
Yeah.
Right.
Thanks.
Yes.
Okay. This was fun. It was always so interesting to look at the data once it comes in, try to figure it out. But there were some things that definitely rose to the top as far as the number of people who voted and the number of, and the majority or entire voting group being green. Or green and orange. And so the ones that came out on top. Community composting hub development, very popular.
Which number?
That is, goal number 8. So this speaks to the overall goal of creating a way for people to compost, to dispose of compost other than in their home, backyard. Does anyone have thoughts, on?
Yeah.
This?
Is that the one I was asking questions on? Yeah, I guess I have questions on. I was interested in learning more about who would use that. Like, I mean, I understand, I think people would use it.
Yeah.
But is it people who have less land or something, or did it make it more urban oriented?
I would
Or no
think,
population?
so you have a program already, a smaller program for compost drop off at your sites?
Yeah, so we're talking about goal 8, right?
Yeah.
So I can talk about, oddly enough, I have a idea already that I've been tossing about for this. For composting hub, whether this is what happens or not. I have an idea about creating some ideas for those where we partner with municipalities or anyone that would participate. Is that we look for a pilot is my initial one, where we have like 3 versions that you could participate in. I say it's like, I don't know, bronze, gold, silver, whatever, pricing points. And then whoever wants to participate, they can pick of the 2 pricing points and whether they choose. And then you give all the composting hauler options, as well as you can participate in our hauler route to our membership options. And so they can either become part of our route that we have at our 4 drop-off sites, which we're always refining ours based on feedback from our drop-offs. Ours is our team can probably explain it a lot better because we're always refining it. But you can do those options where you can just drop off, and they can install the kit at their location, whether it's ideally it's like a municipality, or because then they have that control. Some other counties have done different versions, but ideally it's a municipality because then they can have the idea of the odor controls, all that kind of stuff. They have some control over that. But it could be a partner of any sort that wants to do it.
And it's not.
Yeah.
food waste.
No,
No,
Okay.
Oh.
food waste, but
this is primarily.
theoretically,
Yeah,
theoretically, that's why ideally it's a municipality. They could include it with their, yeah,
Dan, I just,
Mhm.
like, you are our expert
Yep.
in this
Yeah.
space. Can you speak to it a little bit? What do you think that would be?
Mhm.
For the municipality partnerships?
No, can you,
Number 8.
Yeah.
Drop off.
community compost, support the development of community composting hubs countywide, including pilot backyard composting
So we
program,
have
drop off.
a public partnership
Yeah,
or
so
including
including,
your own, or is this the county doing their own thing?
no, I don't think it would be county driven or public-private partnership.
Yeah.
Something,
Mhm.
but to provide drop-off options, potentially curbside options, 'cause I know your company
Yeah.
does that, things like that. What's going
So
to,
we partner with many municipalities, Kalamazoo, soon to be Kent, East Grand Rapids. We find, so here's the main thing, residential composting. The way that we do it is not a very profitable service for us. Margins are low, truck costs are way too expensive, all you trash guys know what I'm talking about. We have our business kind of got out of the residential side because it's not worth it.
would it be so is it a route density problem?
It is.
Okay.
So, and I don't think the buy-in is there yet to be able to create
And
density.
you, I mean, you
And
have to.
so-
charge up the-
and so- Right, and so we have started adopting these partnerships with municipalities, so that's, hey, we're gonna be in the area anyways once a week. And the county itself or the municipality can do the communication on how it's run, very low cost on our end, we'll pick it up, and then now each community has a food scrap drop or have the opportunity to compost their materials. Very low cost, very easy on our end, very low cost for the counties.
And you're seeing good participation by the people.
So yes, and that's the main thing, is that if you're working, when we have it this way, the way that's set up, I think, Kevin's got it set up too, where you have to buy bags or not.
We have offer bags, so,
Okay.
yeah, we offer
So
the
there's
bag.
buy-in, so people
Mhm.
who are participating, they're saying, so you're gonna get good product and very limited contamination. So, you know, I'm a big fan of, this is the way to implement the food scrap program. Now,
And they can put meat in those. 'cause you're-
for us, yeah. they could. So, you know, the problem is like, we've had it in 5 different locations. Rockford did not work out well because there was no communication from the city of Rockford. And therefore, the participation was very low. So if you are to do this, it's just really important that we communicate, let people know what's going on. We get hit.
And it probably is more successful in urban versus rural, because
So
like,
our
I live on an
Kalamazoo,
acre and I.
so our Kalamazoo, our Kalamazoo pilot program is amazing. As far as participation level, the quality of product that we're picking up is very clean. And so we're probably picking up at 15 different locations with about four carts at each location. So the city of Kalamazoo had bought into it.
A question on that. You said the quality of the product is pretty clean. What could it be?
It could be contamination with plastics,
Really?
trash.
We just mix together.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for example, I have commercial accounts that, you know, we're picking up 50% trash, you know.
Wow.
And so, you know, we need to limit that, obviously. And so, but the food scrap programs, residential food scrap programs are generally very successful because there's buy-in. The issues that we have with some of our commercial accounts is that you're dealing with companies that are 1,000 strong. And they haven't figured out that the cart has a meaning. And they just see cart,
Yeah,
they see
you have 10
trash.
employees and all
And
the.
that's just a matter of
barriers
communication.
And all kinds of
Yeah.
stuff in the back of the house of the restaurant.
But
Yeah.
I do see things like this, where the communication and the education is getting, you know, more and more. Every year, we see better participation from our customers and more buy-in.
But like a
from-
restaurant would never use one of those drop-off centers. Like if they want to compost, they pretty much.
So
need a
East Grand Rapids, we had a lot of new customers because they had eventually started out with the drop-off. But over time, what restaurant has time to drive to a 2 or 3
No.
mile? So then what's nice about it, it at least gets them to think about composting, because right now they don't think about it. So they'll do it for a month or 2 and then they'll say, oh, Organicycle.
You could work for a small office.
Yes, yeah,
Like lunchroom stuff.
yeah.
Maybe.
The encouragement of backyard composting, we encourage it. We think it's a good idea. Joe just mentioned, he just learned about it. It's a fun way to repurpose some of your materials. So I think it's a good idea.
For those of us that are lazy, don't want to do it in our backyard, we need
Yeah.
to drop off.
Right.
So
I'm too lazy
I
to
didn't
turn
read
my
it
cycle.
As far as strictly, like, 'cause I spent a lot of time out at the Kent County and Grand Rapids site and saw that way, Denali runs that one, and I'm thinking, you and I talked about this with Pat. So like, you know, where people come into a gate, whether it be yard waste, whether it be farm waste, whether it be whatever, there's somebody there with eyes on. They pay your thing and they go, and there's people there to manage the pile, so something to think about from a carbon, you know, from a mix perspective. Because I didn't see anywhere about no yard waste on this one, and so I was just saying, well, it could be full.
Takes a lot more space.
Yeah, it takes a lot of
A
space.
lot more space.
And that's why, you know,
Right.
when I visited there, I'm like, this makes sense, because there's a lot of people that want to. Or they want to do their own yard and don't want to pay for the yard waste, you know, service or what, there might be some extra.
And we had so I live on like a cul-de-sac, sort of, and it's right next to a cow pasture. And I remember there was a neighbor who cut his grass and dumped all of the clippings over the fence. and the cows ate it and they all died.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Oh, my God.
So,
Mhm.
I mean, that was like 3 years ago or something. So
Those
if,
clippings are
if people
bad.
did, I mean, that person
Yeah.
wasn't, well, they didn't want to leave the clippings on the yard, but they also didn't want to take it somewhere.
Right.
Mhm.
If there was a place where they could take it and not kill the cows,
Mhm.
you know,
they probably figured they were giving the cows a treat.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah, surprise.
Surprise.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's close.
and
Yes,
I
two
don't
different-
think,
Two different,
Yeah.
like, looks at this. One
Yeah.
is there a facility that is collecting compost, turning it and distributing it? Or is there just a facility that, you know, facilitates carts for like Organicycle to?
Yeah.
So that's,
Oh,
I think that's the
Yeah.
different parts.
And the East
Yeah.
Rapids model is,
That's
It's
correct.
just-
Pick up.
it's a
Yeah.
pickup.
so, and we could look at goal 8 twofold in a sense too, because I don't believe, and I could verify for this, organics is, as you can read, I think it does mention too, I think it also manages, I can never remember that word because we don't do much of it here, but organics is organics for Eagle. It doesn't, lock on food. They do talk more so for food waste because that is essentially the largest quantity wasted in trash, essentially.
Going to land.
It's going to landfills. They already have laws in place for yard waste. But it doesn't mean that we can't also, have revenue, not revenues, but well, yeah, but like paths for it, like, cause one of the things that one of the ones I have fixed in this is, mapping. Like, okay, here is where you can bring your yard waste, that's one thing, like, for example, I know Top Grade, cause I drive by Port Sheldon. Like saying, hey, like, here's, one of the things I wanna do is provide a nice GIS map saying, all right, pinpoint, here's where this, if you're looking on the side, you could say, oh, this is a composting facility, this is where it's at. All right, here's the data of what it take, or like, here is Republic's, this is also a composting facility that takes this, and this. This is also a recycling facility. This is, it would list all these things. That kind of stuff. That's one easy step to help. But at the same time, we can take it to the next level of saying, education, there's all, there's ways we can take that to the next step of yard waste information, or there's that, we can focus on that in different ways. What that is, I don't necessarily know at this moment. I'm not saying, I mean, that's part of evolving that goal. And then there's the food waste part of it, whether it's growing the drop-off network, whether it's, like I said, partnering with, what my thought was partnering, essentially creating more routes with, all the composter services for haulers, like on our website, right on our website currently, I have a list of, the current ones that serve our community in Ottawa County as an option for those who, for restaurants and who want that, as well as, I have our program and those who want backyard compost, those resources, and we can grow that and whatever. I think that's like, would be like step 2 of this, you get the general one and then we develop it.
People will learn through education.
Yeah, so,
And through our second popular option, which is a centralized recycling information website. So this is something the county would have, which would,
What number was that?
this is number 10. And what this will enable residents, businesses, anyone to do is to go online and see where to dispose of things, whether it be compost or recycling or some hard to dispose of thing like styrofoam, the bane of everyone's existence. So whatever that may be, and that site then can be kept current, it can be updated as new facilities come online, it can be modified as facilities change what they can and cannot accept and things like that. The Kent County has a really good version of that, and it's something that I think your department could handle.
Yeah.
if you have the right funding and staffing and all of those things
This
to
is-
maintain
yeah.
it, not so much to build it.
Yeah. Definitely funding. This would be something I would recommend, this is just my recommendation. I should recommend it at this point, but more of a West Michigan versus an Ottawa County, but
Mhm.
that's my thought, and that would involve like interlocal agreements and stuff like that, but that we'd work as a regional thing because materials are so regional, but if, this MMPC thinks Ottawa County-based one is more beneficial, then, but I do think that would be very beneficial.
I think we would start with Ottawa County first,
Mhm.
because also through the MMPC process of other
Yeah.
counties, they're gonna be doing the same thing.
Yeah,
So Ottawa County starts with Ottawa County.
Yeah.
Links to other counties.
yeah,
You'll get that regional.
yeah, that regional.
Yep.
Yeah,
And how is that for you guys complimentary? Because you would talk about a website resources.
yeah,
We have the same thing.
They have.
Right now, so we would just say, how do we?
Yeah.
partner with you?
yeah,
Something separate.
yeah. Yeah, I
And I-
actually had a meeting about that yesterday.
And,
What about both popular sites? Just-
Yeah.
and Kim is talking to the DPAs for other counties and, it's likely to come up.
Yeah,
And as a site like this is developed, yes, Ottawa County can develop its own site. If Allegan County is developing a site and the two of them, we don't want to create more work to have to merge things together. So just being in communication throughout the process, I think would make it, a smoother transition to make it regional rather than county-based.
Yeah, just to add on, it's one of our most popular sites, the search engine we created.
Mhm.
Other feedback that we've gotten over the years is like sites like Earth 911 and stuff does answer those questions, but this is more regional, they feel more comfortable, and more confident that we're on top of it. So I
Right.
think you're right on track.
I did that, yeah, because the Earth 911 is so inaccurate.
yeah,
Right.
Exactly.
yeah, we've had a lot of issues with Earth 911 telling, yeah, especially with hazardous waste. Yeah,
So that one's kind of a no-brainer. It's pretty straightforward. And
Yeah.
the other issue with building something like this is funding, is
Yeah.
having, either internal staff having the ability to do it or having the ability to hire someone to do it, having the funding to do that. So
yeah,
that is something that will have to be addressed. The next one, goal number 3, countywide waste characterization study, a lot of voting on that. There were a lot of greens and some saying maybe now, maybe later. It could be useful and, you want to talk to the waste characterization study, Kim?
that's a tricky one.
We've done one in Ottawa County, right?
I mean,
Kind of, not, I think Waste Management
Well,
had it done.
That's the same as a waste characterization that they're talking about, or if it was more just what materials are. So I've been talking about doing like a true waste characterization. Taking sampling of loads, pulling apart, seeing what's available.
Mhm.
Yeah, it has been done. The Michigan business.
Businesses, yeah.
Is
And the Department of Trade Valley, we randomly kick loads out of all of those trash, and it was crazy. They broke it down to like 20 different categories.
Yeah.
It's been done twice, so they did it once and then they did a refresh on it.
So at least we have a baseline or start.
Yeah, so, and bear in mind, this is the MMP is very hyper-focused on diversion from landfills. So there's a lot of waste generation, a lot of waste
Yeah.
that's generated and used and never goes to the landfill. So
Yeah,
accounting for that as well
mm-hmm,
is good.
We've talked about data a lot. in
Yeah.
this Group, and this would provide more data.
mm-hmm.
That's why I put a green one on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure. Absolutely.
And it'd be interesting to do it, and this is one thing when I thought about this one, is it is just landfills, it'd be interesting, is there other places you do it? Like, I don't know, like, I know it's diversion from landfills is the priority, but it'd be I don't know, do you do it other places? I mean, that's the goal, but
I know like in
I don't know.
manufacturing, they do, that manufacturing is really good at sustainable operations and not sending things to landfill, and some of them have to have zero waste policies. So that's an example of a different type of management of materials that's going on a lot in this county.
Yeah, I think that's
Mhm.
really important because the state talks about diversion, but it's not,
Mhm.
you know, there's so much material out there that isn't counted, like, you
Yeah,
know, let's say concrete, you know, that
yeah,
it could go to a landfill, but there's so much that goes to a concrete recycle center.
yeah,
Right.
You know, wood could go to a landfill and in some industrial cases it does, but
yeah,
in other cases it goes to Michigan wood fibers. So,
Right.
yeah,
so we're only
Yeah.
counting, you know, landfill and single stream recycling, but there's a lot more diversion that is
There's a lot
happening
Right.
with wood, concrete, metal. you
Yeah.
know, that is not in that diversion rate. So
Right.
Yeah.
their diversion rate is way better
Yeah.
than what we're
Mhm.
showing.
Yes.
And I think that this is important to
It is
allow
important.
some of that.
yeah. And I think of all the materials at our sites that I send to Detroit area, like, I know it's being diverted that way, but, you know, we send it to Detroit and then it gets processed there and goes to their landfills and their incinerators, and it just, defined version, truly,
Right.
is that this kind, or, just, are we trying to, what's the full picture? Yeah,
Mhm. So once again, something like this, doing a waste
Yeah.
characterization study, taking the time to do a deep dive into some of those other waste streams. It's time and it's money, and how do we want to prioritize it over potentially other things? But it's definitely useful.
Well, if we did that, we might identify that, we're not actually here
mhm,
with diversion rates, but it's actually a lot higher. And we get a better read on the actual data. So
mhm,
could be helpful.
mhm.
agree with that. I also have a green sticker. I think that will help inform some of our decision making moving forward.
Especially long term.
Yeah,
I've got orange on it because I thought that, we did do that study, we do have data that we
Mhm.
can get. And in my opinion, I don't think it's gonna change much, from that original study, it's just like orange.
yeah,
Yeah,
I can see
I
that.
was the same way, in my thought, but I also agree with what Russ is saying, that if there's a way to incorporate really what is already going, being diverted, to really understand where our baseline is.
Yeah, comprehensive baseline.
Yeah, and I brought this up in other MMPCs and they say, yeah, that's fine, Tom, but all we're really trying to do, there's not a number we're trying to do, it's just trying to go from here to here. So whether it's in that number now or it's not in that number, is it progressing forward?
Yeah, I see
But
that side too.
Mhm,
Yeah,
I like numbers. and,
Yeah.
but
yeah,
We're truly at a 45%. I'd like to be able to say that. We're going from 45 to 55.
right.
mhm.
Yep.
Yeah, essentially, where do you want to be? Do you want to be in the woods, in the minutia, and really know it? Or, really get that understanding? Or are you okay with just trying to be okay with the generalization? And essentially, that's what you want to know. What kind of, do you want to be fine with generalizing, constantly just going on general, or do you want to get in the woods as much as you can and really know the truth? Yeah. And that's what essentially, that's what we want to know. What are we okay with? Just general guesses and being okay with that, or in the woods and try to really find
Utilizing
yeah.
public resources, I think we should.
Mhm. I mean, again, I'm with you guys. I love numbers. I'm a number person.
And I think we should be putting these diversion numbers in our diversion rate because, if we,
Yeah.
take something to the Board of Commissioners and say, hey, our recycle rate is
Mhm.
12% and all the other counties around us are doing way better than we are.
Mhm.
But our diversion rate is actually 30%, that may influence decisions on what we do or what we
Yeah.
don't do.
I like, yeah. I like to be able to back up what we're saying, and that's data. So
We
I understand.
we have a phrase that our office say these are real numbers.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a joke because sometimes you just don't have real numbers.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But it's a good reminder that we actually do need real numbers. And we might start thinking we're at, whatever percentage, get better numbers and realize, oh, we just completed a big chunk of our goal by getting real numbers.
Yeah.
And I think that would happen based on, what we're talking about.
Oh, I absolutely think the diversion rate would go up if we looked at it.
But we get better
Mhm.
real numbers.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, then we should know.
Just prepare. It was great to see all the good ones come in, but I've had it before where it's like, oh, that's great. And the next week, oh, suck again.
Yeah,
How did that happen?
yeah.
Okay, the next few goals 4, 5, and 6, all deal with increasing residential recycling. Which is supposed to be a big part of what we're doing with this plan. The first one, universal access to curbside is, did okay. One person asked, isn't this already done?
And I saw somebody wrote that, but it sounds like Russ filled that gap, so it is available and.
So, and this is where the question lies. So we're required, there's a requirement to provide universal access, or so everyone has access. If a resident is given the option of participating or not participating, a lot of times they won't participate. If they're given an option of adding recycling to their trash bill, there's a certain percentage of residents that will not do it
Cause there's a cost.
because of the
Just to be clear.
cost. If a municipality chooses to implement a program where they automatically get a cart, participation soars. But it requires the municipality to make that happen. So I think of the city of Holland, which is a good example of that. Once those carts rolled out, suddenly everyone has a recycling cart and pretty much everyone uses them. But, if you took those same residents and said, okay, we're going away from the yellow bag system, you now can get a cart if you want. It wouldn't be as high.
How does they get a cart?
Well, for Holland, it's automatically delivered with their trash cart. It's included in the trash service.
Municipal agreement.
But not for apartments, right? Just so
No.
clear.
Or
Who pays for it?
fourplex or over fourplexes. No.
Okay.
Fourplex.
Residents.
So the way, cause just the way this reads is.
The residents pay for it?
Mhm.
Apartments.
So we're forcing all people in Ottawa County to pay for recycling. Is that what you're talking about?
Well, this wouldn't necessarily be something that would be implemented at the county level. It would be implemented at the municipal level. And it wouldn't be a matter of the county forcing municipalities to do it. It would be, the county serving
Or
as,
the haulers. to Make sure.
Right, this one sounds like a hard no.
yeah.
Probably it's the political will
Oh,
discussion.
absolutely,
Mhm.
absolutely. And, but to let municipalities know that, that kind of program can exist. It's it's education for municipalities. Because a lot of these folks that are running, municipalities, townships, whoever it may be, they are not in the business. They don't see how these
I get
systems
that.
work.
I think the fundamental difference, right, is for the city of Holland to used to do that, there was a path to viability because of the density of the population. The farther out you go into these other townships, the cost exponentially increases because there's not that density of population. And the haulers deserve to get paid for the work that they do.
Right.
So
Right,
like.
well, I
cost 10
agree.
times more.
In a township without the density, the system doesn't work as well.
Yeah.
But there's other municipalities with population density, thinking of Grand Haven, Spring Lake, they have population density. So it's not a system that works everywhere, but,
There are other systems as well, like Grand Haven Township
mhm,
requires the hauler to have a blended rate. So if you live in Grand Haven Township, you're given one rate for trash and recycling, whether you use both or not. So, you know, it's similar,
yep,
but different, so.
yeah,
Create a list of compelling options that
Yeah.
municipalities can choose from. So base level is, again, there's access for everybody in the county.
Mhm.
That's our goal, is to make sure everybody in the county has access. That can come for existing hauling relationships and drop off.
Yep.
Step two could be, all right, here's if you're a community that wants to take it further, here are a couple different basic things that Russ just mentioned.
Mhm.
Want to go the Holland route to do this, here are some other best practices that we can share.
yep,
That seems like a really good use of our team's resources to say, here are some options to help guide these municipalities.
Mhm.
With a baseline
yes.
that says everybody has to have access.
Yep. Yeah, it really falls more into the education side rather than the policy side.
I would completely agree on that. This group, I think, should be the ones to, what are the definitions? What does access, what does that statement mean?
Mhm.
And you make sure that that's tight.
Yeah.
What that means. I'm not giving any,
I'm,
that this is the way we have to do it, but, you know, how do we incorporate all those things that we just talked about into that definition?
So,
Right.
so we have number, oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, well, I just wanted to, because I think that that's important. Because like, so for example, I live in a condo where I don't get to make the decisions. The access is available. But the board has decided we are not providing recycling, so I don't have that right to choose because the choice is being made for me. So then there's, how do we address that? I'm sure my association is not the only one that is not consulting the residents and asking, would you like access? And I can call Airways and say, I'd like a recycling cart delivered because my association will not allow that. So how do we address that through education with these like condo and apartment boards and owners? So that's another level to this too of complication. Yes, the access is there, but the residents don't have the choice.
So that, I
Can you
think,
drive it to a drop-off center?
Yeah.
So would that constitute access?
Again,
But this is-
definition.
But
What
this is,
access?
but this is specifically curbside.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I have access in other ways,
Okay.
but I can't make that choice to get curbside.
Mhm.
Even though it's technically available, their access is there, but as a
That's fine.
resident, I don't have a choice to call
Yeah.
us, call Airways, which I could do.
But that's why all three of
That
these
part,
goals are important, because
Yeah,
we
they
want to
go
make sure that
together.
there's access to different mediums for everyone.
right.
yeah, we won't be able to create like a universal, you know, standard by force that negates HOA, you know, rulemaking or something.
Yeah,
But I look at goal number 4 as what we probably have accomplished at least the minimum.
Mhm.
And all this stuff that we're talking about, I think really fits under the, you know, required number 5, which is the strategic education and outreach, like that can encompass the definitions, it can encompass, you know, a lot of what we're talking about right now.
Yeah, I think of it as like toolkit, that you give the toolkit's available, whether it's for residents or for township municipals, and we can go with, if we can agree on them, we can go as far as saying, you know, when your population hits this size, you may want to consider X versus Y, I don't know, like, we'd have to agree on. That's the hard part.
Yeah, I don't think that's in here, toolkit. Right, that's not listed anywhere.
But to me, toolkit
But
would
it
be
could
part of
be.
strategic education and
Yeah.
outreach plans.
Yeah, it could be added, yeah, it might be good to add it for. Just
That's
make a
what you
note.
were referring to, right? Earlier.
Yeah. Great.
oh, although, like I was talking about, like maybe my composting toolkit.
We're having similar conversations in Kent County about that concept, because not everybody's on the same page. So let's get all the ideas in a toolkit. They're all things that are.
So the next one is kind of an elephant in the room if you're in the world of recycling, multifamily.
Why is it the elephant in the room?
Cause
Or
it's
not?
so hard to implement.
Why is it?
So there's a couple of complexities. You may have an apartment that has 20 people that want to recycle and really want to get a program in there. But you also, in the same thing, might have 80 people that just aren't interested in it. So do multifamily pay for recycling that a small percentage want? And then on top of that, the contamination of it. You can't put it by a trash container because multifamily is just gonna go to the easiest container while they're walking by. It has to be a separate area. It has to be away from it. But then, you know, Eagle's guidance is that, well, it has to be by the trash so that it's easier and convenient so they can drop it off when they're dropping. Nobody's gonna go out of their way to do it. But the people that want it, you know, if you don't put it out of the way, it's gonna be contaminated, like organic, like it's right next to trash.
You're in
You
these
know,
people
the
trash.
easiest container to drop it in is where it's going. So that's why it's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's very, very.
Yeah,
Have that issue, and there's one particular in town that is our vein. You put it out, it's immediately another trash dump or somewhere.
I've seen recycling carts that have the hole in it for bottles.
Yeah.
Where it's nothing but trash.
They find a way.
Even as, yeah, find a way.
Yeah, I mean, there've been
Sat right next to it.
pilots of different types of containers that require them to feed the recycling into like little slots and holes, and it gets full of trash. So it's hard to do. It's very hard to do.
I have a, yeah, I don't disagree with that. I 100% agree with it. I would like, that would be an interesting thing to study though, right? Like, because there's a way to fix that behavior. I don't know what the way is. I don't know if it's a camera and a penalty or a,
yeah.
right, but there's a way to fix that.
Mhm.
I just don't know that we've ever solved it, but it might be worth solving because having the bins not by each other is, that works when you design buildings, right? So that's my experience in doing lead construction. You make recycling easier than the trash, and when you're inside a building in an office environment, people will follow that behavior. I know why it's not happening with apartments. Different mentality, it's a different person who lives there, and then there's moving day, and then moving day, everything is chaos, and that's when the contamination happens. But that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Everything you said is exactly right. The only successes that I know of, this is just from the ones that we've seen in Holland, there's a couple of complexes. It's where the owners get involved and put the bins in, like, say, the laundry room or something like that. They move them out and put it back in. The minute they get involved, you got clean stuff. It's where we leave the residents to their own devices is where we have the issue.
And there's all kinds of issues then. They don't have the education, they don't have the language barrier. There's a lot of things that are going on there.
Like to your the buy-in is crucial. So in your example of the ones that are running your apartment, if you don't want smoking in your apartment, and if you are,
Yeah.
there's buy-in to not smoking, and if there's penalties, then you're not gonna get smoking. So to your point, I think if there is buy-in with, along with some of this behavior changes with ramifications, it might be very successful.
And the buy-in is, I mean, the key to that is the education.
Yeah, for sure.
Mhm.
For sure.
And involved. I mean, you can educate as much as you want if you don't have the structure there.
You know,
There's still other barriers, because you still might not have space on the site for the extra box. You may not have space in the apartment to do the collection. There's other barriers with
yeah,
multifamily, but
if you go through some of those larger complexes, most of them are like, taking up a parking spot and they really don't have the room, right, or they don't want to give up that second spot. So you're right, space is an issue.
but somehow those two things have to be addressed, have to move
Yeah, it
past.
seems like you just need to have more sites that say, we're committed to this, we're gonna do it, and create a story around that, educate it out and have a model that works.
People have tried it. So there's some good examples in Kent County where they've really tried it with Republic and
I think it was, Russ.
or with Russ.
Yeah.
Sorry. And it really didn't work very well. So that's why it's like, it is really hard. It's not just sort of hard. It's really hard.
Well, could we just change the wording of goal 5 and reword it to something about study and then try to figure out whether it's a pilot program or whatever it is to your point, to try
Yeah.
to see.
Maybe
what
we get a
works.
university involved.
That's what I'm
right?
thinking,
Because this is a
man.
Great project.
I made a
for
note,
psychology.
Carrie and you should get together from Grand Valley and maybe, yeah, maybe we,
If there's something
Yeah.
that works.
Yeah.
And that's easy, you just have to
Right?
figure out
Like,
what
let's
it is.
figure out.
yeah, maybe promote some sort of, yeah, multi-housing studies or
Grand
something.
Valley's psychology team, get after it. Think of it as a
Yeah.
change management project.
We have several universities within Ottawa County.
Yes, they did.
Get it figured out there.
You know, have
Really hard. I mean, it is.
funding to have type, you know. Maybe that's what one of our goals are is portion or, yeah, promote university.
Yeah, let's play the
Not
dragon.
university specific, but yeah.
Studies conducted, it's feasible. What's the next step?
And maybe it's just even talking about that, this is what we studied, these are the results. Ask for public comment on that. Like, I bet you'd get a lot of comment.
That would be a very unique goal in
It would be
our,
very unique.
I would,
It would, it
I
would
like
probably
it.
kind of set our plan apart a little bit.
Yeah.
I think. And I know there'd be some costs, but that'd probably be pretty good ROI.
Yeah,
Eventually stop spinning in circles from.
maybe. And
And
one
if
of the,
not, then we'll.
well, and some of the language in the goal as it's currently written talks about developing
Mhm.
templates for what might work in different settings.
Yeah.
And being able to provide assistance to property owners who want to put a system in for recycling and don't know how to do it or where to turn.
Yeah, I mean, maybe they need a variance in order to put containers where right now they're not allowed to have containers. So in their mind, they're stuck. But they don't, if we had the collaborative approach where we could say, no, listen, like, it's for this, part of this. The variance is gonna be easier, like, there's a lower threshold to get it, and then you can make it happen.
This is an amazing idea because throughout the state, no matter who you talk to, they're always looking for an answer for recycling. We're saying, no, we're gonna study this and try to figure this out and not just wait for somebody else to figure it out. So I think we're dead on this. Let's figure it out in Ottawa County and just lead the way.
You know, I think also it might not just be the psychology, it could be infrastructure systems that, so you could have multiple groups kind of working on different pieces of that.
I mean, does this area have a rental properties owners association? I know Kent County does. But I don't know if Ottawa does.
I don't know, I think some municipalities have stuff, only because I know our, well and septic team has had requests to, do inspections for them. But I think at municipal level, but not as a county that I'm aware of.
Does anyone in this group know of who some of the biggest property owners are of multifamily?
We're in contact. Very aware, so we have to inspect their.
I mean, I would fold them in on, like,
Say like Rockford construction.
I don't know that they own the property,
Oh,
they build the
maybe
property.
Not necessarily in Ottawa County, there's more Kent County.
Yeah, oh,
I
right.
mean, they build all over.
Yeah, I think Paul might have some input on that too, because he does a lot of.
But anyway,
Which are housing alliance. What they are connected to.
yeah, like, I mean, it's. Somehow that's gotta get solved. Is it, I mean, every single one of these committees is stuck on multifamily housing.
Yes.
Every single one of them.
I was
That's
just
been
gonna say
involved in.
That.
We have to fix this.
The three boards I sit on, for some reason, it does seem like the apartment complex, that is a problem.
It's a big
So
problem.
what's keeping them from adding recycling to their, what is it? Is it costs for recycling? I mean, you guys know what the cost of.
Some of it's cost, I mean, the
Or is it just, they just.
property management companies don't want to pay for it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
As Russ said, sometimes it's contamination, as Carrie
Yeah.
talked about, sometimes it's accessibility to be able to have that second time container there. So
Right.
there's a mix of multitude of reasons.
so you guys don't necessarily want this either, do you? Is that what you're saying too? or-
We don't mind it.
Okay.
It's just-
We don't want to pick up
It
the
has to work.
contamination.
Right.
We don't have another trash container.
Right, so then you're probably adding what, extra charges if you see something, is that, and then the property managers think, I,
Forget it.
okay,
Right. And, you know,
Contamination.
Right.
program could raise rent as well too, so.
Right.
If there's a 5% or 10% people that want it,
Right.
are we raising the rent for 100%?
Yeah.
Or,
You have to level the playing field somehow.
All these questions, all the questions here and all the things that you're answering. Again, go back to the study. That's gonna go back into how do we fix it? What are the problems? Because there's a lot of things we're not even talking about
Right.
that are gonna be in this. Everything, again, going back, we have plenty of, Hope College, Grand Valley.
I just cannot believe that the solution is I have to put it in my car and drive it.
Yeah.
I refuse to believe that the
That's
average
the only
person
answer.
wants to do that.
It's not the only answer.
Yeah, I have a related question. You know, sometimes there's green carts or other colored carts that people
Mhm.
tried using other colors
Yes.
and it doesn't work,
I mean, not,
or not always.
not
depends
bad.
how many- they had yellow containers and they invested a significant amount of money in signage as well too, and pictures and
And those
No
are the,
trash.
those are the ones that had limited access to.
no lids and.
And it didn't really work. People put trash.
Not the people that we're talking about. So like when you go to California as an example, they have a very good color coding system for compost, recycling and waste. And it's a little bit more successful, but as soon as you get into that apartment complex, the mentality is different. High-end apartment would be different, but like if people are there because they can't afford to buy a home.
Yeah.
It's a mentality thing.
Okay.
Make bad choices.
Yeah, but even like the Grand Rapids recycling, the Grand Rapids recycling in certain areas of the city
Right,
is seen nothing but trash and recycling.
Exactly.
So it really comes to economics.
It does.
a lot of it.
And.
Yeah, because a big part of that problem is that essentially your recycling is free. You get to
pay as you-
Well, that was the perception.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
One.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was
Never
a,
worked very well.
yeah, it was
The
a,
other thing though, credibility though, because I do think there's a lot of people that like that.
It's a piece.
Some people may be sitting there throwing their stuff in the
I
recycling,
think
but they
it's a
have
piece.
heard, this is all going to the trash anyways.
For some reason, there are a certain percent of people that have that mentality, and I don't know how you just have.
It's hard because of the articles that came out, especially in 2020 with
Yeah.
everything, like it's in the New York Times, it says, recycling's not real and.
Right, but like 5% being recycled, but
There's a
those
percentage
numbers
of people-
are skewed because there's just some people don't have recycling programs. This is gonna be recycled if it goes to Kent County Market.
mhm.
But if you live in, Portage, they may not have a place, so this is just gonna end up in the trash. So that gets counted as not being recycled, right? Yeah.
I've had my
That's right.
car chewed in the middle of City Hall at the base for somebody saying, why are we paying you to do recycling because it's not real? And no matter what argument I did, they literally were screaming at me. So there's no matter, I made the problem of trying to convince them at the beginning of the conversation.
No.
And then I ended up with, yes, ma'am, yes, sir.
I'll tell you what, I mean, and this goes back like a while now, but like 6 or 7 years ago, I take my own staff to the Kent County MRF to show them it was recyclable, so they would stop telling people that it wasn't recyclable. It was embarrassing,
Yes.
but I had to, because this isn't what Padnos does, so
Right.
it must not be real.
Yeah.
It's like, no, it's not what Padnos does. We need them to call the waste hauler.
Yeah.
It goes here.
Yeah.
Here's Kent County, and they were like, oh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it, and we're in the business.
Yes.
Like, it's,
I love this discussion, but I think probably we should
Yeah.
probably go to.
Yeah, so we can't
There's a lot
solve
of-
that one
yeah.
today, but I love the
I
idea of a
love
study.
what we've, I think that's one of the.
So,
That's-
okay, we're
that's
gonna
good.
talk about drop-offs now because we don't have multifamily recycling yet. So,
Yeah.
drop-off recycling and HHW access. And this is hard to recycle materials. This is what the drop-off centers in the county are already doing.
Mhm.
It's a matter of improving that access, making sure the population that needs that access has it.
Stuff that have.
This had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 greens and 5 greens and 4 orange. So, it didn't have anybody outright saying, don't do it, but it does have some support.
So I was agreeing on that one.
Mhm.
Yeah, we have a site in Coopersville and everything, and
Mhm.
it's a short drive to get there. But the problem is accessibility. That's the biggest complaint I got. I don't think.
Yeah.
People complain about having to pay for it, whatever, but I think the biggest piece is I'm at work when they're open.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and I know you're limited to staff.
Yeah.
So it's not a
Yeah,
whatever, but
yeah,
if somehow funding, whatever, can be established or whatever to get it opened up to be an open locker, I think
Yeah.
participation is gonna be there. It's a site that's already there. I mean, it's already established, so how do we use it? So,
So are you saying that it's limited to, hours of operation?
yeah, what, couple times a month?
yeah, so, yeah, that's where we talk about the access thing, the state defines access, I think it's 24 hours for the county. Um, You had it in the slide, I can't remember. Yeah, so we check that box. So, very easily, but is it really?
What are the
Yeah.
operation?
For that one, it's 12, it's like, it's awful.
Right.
I'll flat out say it's awful.
So the only
It's
reason I'm bringing
rural,
this up
yeah.
is-
Yeah.
With our food drop, with East Grand Rapids,
Yeah,
they have a unique situation where they actually, all participants are have an app. And there's a
Yeah.
locking system that reacts with Bluetooth
Yeah.
technology, so that's open 24 hours a day.
but that's food, no household hazardous waste.
Oh, that's.
Oh,
So,
Yeah, and scrap tires and,
Can you separate it?
yeah,
There's-
can HHW be a separate program? And have the other things, especially if it's just recycling drop off, have that be more accessible? I know
Yeah.
it has to be staffed, you
So,
can't leave it.
yeah, so then you play this. Yeah, so so we have one composter there at the Coopersville site. And guess who that is? It's Eagle. It's the Eagle representative for composting. That we know of right now. So, yeah, and then you play I will say that gate's been left open a few times, and the moment it gets left open, being next to the landfill.
It's a trash dump.
It becomes, yeah, I've personally pulled out tons of stuff out of that bin when that gate gets left open in our recycling bin.
Cause it's a free trash dump, right?
Now it is.
Is that the issue?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
You put it in your parking lot.
yeah,
Maybe. You know, there's options.
I mean, if there was like a gate around it or something.
but so that is things that we are,
Cause I don't think.
Coopersville's-
Curbside would ever work hard. You know, municipality or whatever, but an option like that.
Yeah.
would be cool.
I will say, some of the discussions we've had. Like some of the examples and stuff, when that was free, cause I was the person that made it not free for Polkton residents.
That was big.
That was a big deal. That site went from being the highest recycling site.
Yeah.
And then I pulled the free because it was a huge cost to the county for making it free. It dropped to being the lowest recycling community.
Where was the cost? Transporting,
Staff.
Oh, well, it was multiple things,
Okay.
but, the cost of recycling has, from when it was free, yeah, it wasn't that huge recycling wasn't known to be a big item, a big cost back in the 90s when it was established.
okay.
And then it has grown because of, transportation is the largest cost in recycling. And the bins, yeah.
Opportunities for cost sharing, things like that.
There's always opportunities, but someone's gotta bring it to the table,
Right.
like truly bring it to the
Right.
table. And, so we're always looking at different things when I talk, there's some things that I'm talking right now with my supervisors and, proposing and looking at, so, but, hours are always one of the things, is there better options? Yeah,
So Kim, I had a green sticker on this one, I think.
yeah,
And it's because I don't get that many real complaint emails
Mhm.
as a commissioner. But this is actually one area where I have received more,
Mhm.
where it's someone saying, well, I went to the drop off and I couldn't get in or
Yeah,
something like
Yeah.
that. And then they say, well, I looked at the website, but I got confused on the hours or something.
yes,
So I'm glad, I think we should, continue what we're doing and include that in the plan, and that's great, set the baseline. But then even if we increase the hours by 5%, or increase the hours by 10%, or whatever we can do,
yeah,
if whatever fits in the budget and whatever fits in the plan, I think could be a good small step forward. That's
yes,
just my thoughts.
yeah,
So I had
Yeah.
a thought on this one, though, maybe you wanna tweak it, and maybe the county will work with municipalities and things like that. Cause I'm thinking, it's those that are municipalities. We have some skin in the game on this.
mhm,
So, it's our right, it's dual as, so I'm thinking Grand Haven and some of the bigger areas, like we're already talking for our site. Is how do we work with you to say, there's a county person, there's a municipality person, so we're both hearing the whole.
Yeah.
Staff, yeah, all the way across.
yeah,
Because I mean, there is some opportunity there. So I think if you tweak that goal a little bit, saying that we're gonna work with municipalities to create, instead of the burden just being on the county, I guess is my perspective.
Yeah, I think some small tweaks could either lead to some
mhm,
pretty far felt changes or improvements. If you have more sites or something.
yeah. I agree. I think there are some small tweaks that could lead to big changes. Or, big views that could lead to even bigger changes that would help everyone. It's just how does the county and municipalities want to see this? And everyone's got to view it the same. It's got to be, we all got to move forward on it. I think there's some great things that we could do, including the educational components that would hit a lot of the goals that could come out of just changing number 6, I think. That's my view.
Well, and I look at,
Yeah,
some of the numbers, like if
Mhm.
there's 4 household hazardous waste drop-offs and you can figure out how to get it to 8, and 100% increase. Even if there's limited hours, that's a big change. You can get the hours at some of the sites to go from 24 to 30, whatever. There's some pretty good incremental steps that could be taken that show pretty significant change when you look at the numbers.
Mhm.
That's kind of how I look at that one.
I would, yeah, to me, it's about the hours. To
yeah,
me, 4 would be plenty, like.
Yeah.
More hours. Additional 6 are very expensive.
yeah,
Topic, but is there the reality that we could do the self-serve option where the household hazardous waste that says this is where your pesticides go? Can we do good education training and leave it open 24/7?
What if you have to pay? What if you have to use an app and pay $5 to unlock something? Is there a system?
The management of HHW is just too,
It's
Yeah.
too hard. I mean, you have to be,
That if you mix the wrong things together, you explode.
But like,
It's
also,
not-
hazardous waste, you still have like the posted hours where there's somebody there to accept it.
Yeah.
But just the
Yeah.
general household recycling and everything.
I think if you have the right partners, we could do certain things. That's some of the things I'm looking into, is finding the right partners to do different things.
Okay.
That's one of the things I'm looking into.
I mean, I own property in a couple different municipalities. So you get one county that's like, hey, every landowner, you get a couple free dump passes a year.
Mhm.
It's like, okay, well, how about we just tweak that a little bit? Every homeowner gets, access or whatever to these drop-off sites or something, just.
Yeah.
divert
Yeah.
everyone's bill.
Yeah, the biggest thing I'm trying to look into is the right partner that will also make sure that the products are correct. For example, you could have a partner. So this is what I've heard before, like for what I'm afraid of if you don't have the right partner is contamination. I don't want to give a product to our vendors or try to do something where a vendor will get a product that's gonna have to end up in the landfill. Because like, for example, I've heard like airports, they have recycling bins out there, but really just goes to landfill. Because again, like they might say, here's a recycling bin, but then again, it's another trash can because it gets too full because they're not changing it. That's what I've heard, whether it is, I'm not the, but I'm not their trash service, but
And I think Autumn Hills facility is not manned. Do you
Yeah.
have like contamination there?
at that,
Household drop off?
we put for HHW, that site, we put a lot of our unmanned HHW. That site, yes, we get a lot of like latex paint in that bin and we get recycling in our bin. And a lot of, yeah, we had a lot of material in that one that's not supposed to be in there, yeah.
I think HHW is very important for the county to have a program to support it.
Yeah.
To have an outlet for it.
Yeah.
We get a lot of calls, I'm sure Dan does, and, everybody gets calls on what do I do with this
Yeah.
pesticide and this. So
Yeah,
having a program, is very important for the county, so it doesn't end up in the landfill.
Yeah.
Or our carts or our trucks.
Yep.
I
Yeah.
think the elephant in the room with this is the cost of it, right?
yes,
So, Kim's program, has a cost to it. These sites have a cost to it. I know that we've talked in the past about funding. I think there's even something coming up about, funding for this, with, possibly a landfill surcharge. Or, waste, will cost more in the county to get rid of because of it. So it's just, and I'm not on either side of that, because I'm passing costs on. I'm trying to look at it in a way for our customers to get the best possible rate, to pay the least amount. But there is a cost to all of it. So whether, the disposal has to go up, so then everybody has to pay more in the county for it, that might be a trade-off that everybody in this room is willing to do, and
Mhm.
I'm on board with that, but I just want it also to be said and put out there that
Mhm.
there is a cost to it that eventually does come down to the residents, to the consumers. So just that it's at least talked about and put out there that everybody.
So pay now or pay later, right?
Mhm.
And we're paying for
Yeah.
landfill and Riley Trail still right now because, it's a bad decision. So again, keep that in mind. There's cost, but they're also paid for how we're gonna get work on.
Cause and effect.
And some of these items, yeah, there is cost to it, but some is more of a one-time cost that perhaps the county will pay for. Like if we do a study or an informational website or something like that, just gets merged into our current operations. There are different types of costs too, some for the proper, the county itself, and then
Mhm.
talk about cost to residents is a very wide reaching discussion. And really, in general, those decisions need to be made by the people who are educated and want to do it, because trying to force people to do it, I think is just proven over and over is not, there's not a one size fits all solution. So trying to do the studies and figure out what does work, I think is one of the highest ROI options that we can do.
All right. Next one, this is the last one that really got, that really had a positive reaction. Goal 12, business recycling, technical assistance and recognition. This is technical assistance, to businesses and institutions to reduce, waste generation, increase recycling, circular economy. There were only 5 votes on it, but they were all green. So those who voted on it were approved of it. So thoughts?
Every week, a business or another asking for help, asking for assistance, asking for some sort of. And yeah, it's a thing. Businesses and organizations, whether it be nonprofits, they're looking to recycle, they're looking for options.
Mhm.
Right, and with this, I think, like, it's not just their, not manufacturing lines, it's their
Mhm.
offices,
Mhm.
right? Like, how do they do recycling, composting? All of us work in an office, right? My office has recycling because we're or city of Hollisville. The only reason we have recycling access. Oh, but
I didn't put a sticker on this one, not because of the first part, but because of the second part. I don't think we should develop a recognition program. It kind of sounds more like NGO work, like that would be, an outside org that provides recognition or something. It seems like that could get a little, favoritism type of problem. So I wasn't big on that part. But I hear the need, in general.
Yeah, cause I get calls too, like, I know there's a community that has like spacing issues. And they really want like composting and they have issues with like recycling that they want to do, but yet they're trying to get like composting in their like downtown area. And there's like a whole bunch of the businesses want it, but they're having issues with their township trying to get it and they're trying to figure out how to do it still. So,
When you say they want it,
yeah.
I mean, do they want the city to pay for it or?
No, they'll pay for it, but they
I
have,
don't get a lot of requests for it.
yeah.
So.
But the city,
It's one
but they
thing
have
say
to
they
go
want
through,
it.
but they have to go through the city to get it for space because it's a
Oh.
downtown area.
I got it.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yep.
So. So yeah, they're already paying for composting. But it's more difficult because the city,
Well, I think, what was already stated is that we're not really talking about manufacturing. So if we take out everybody who has loading dock, let's just take them out of the equation. And we look at every other business office situation that doesn't have a loading dock. If you don't have a loading dock, the assistance I provide for free no longer exists, right? Yeah, there's a need. On the recognition part, I'm with you, that there's organizations that do that recognition. The Michigan Sustainable Business Forum does that recognition, MRC does that recognition. So if there's a business who we think needs to be recognized, we submit a nomination to those organizations to recognize those businesses or those programs, including Ottawa County, if we want to give them recognition. But the services, yeah, I mean, I get way more calls than I can address from people who want help that I can't help them because they don't have the room, the space to do it. There's
Yeah.
a loaded dock.
But if I could weigh in on that, so they're calling you on stuff that you're not necessarily providing service for. My thought on why I didn't give this one a star or a green thing was I have account managers out there, Russ does, WM does, I mean, they have sales reps that should be their technical expert on, hey, this is what I want to do,
Absolutely.
this is how you can do it. So that's why I was thinking,
Yes.
they
And
really
they
already
push, the
have that
people push
information.
back because not only do you
Maybe they
have
don't like
people
it.
doing it, they don't want to pay for it.
Right.
So like, that really is a fundamental problem, right? And it's getting enough people aligned, want to pay for it, that we could drop everyone's cost into a more reasonable point. Because again, it's a $500,000 truck. It's got to drive somewhere. Like,
Well, and I wanted to
Yeah.
take that a little bit further to your account managers go into an office and help them set up. Like, how do you train your employees? How do you get people to recycle? How do you, like, what is the extent of that technical assistance?
Yeah, I would say, depending on what the customer's ask is and needs, I mean, I would assume that Russ and WM have the same thing. And if that's what the customer is looking for from us, then. I mean, we do want
Sales.
that I've been part of trainings at larger organizations and they're running 3 shifts and you're trying to get there and what the breaks of the different ones, and it's not great, but you do what you can.
Yeah, so my question about that is the technical assistance. So concern I have, sort of what I was saying, is we have a lot of groups that call us up saying, hey, we want to push composting with it. but their narrative is so off that it actually hurts us. So if the city is providing technical service or assistance and it's not the right communication or right narrative, it's scaring people off. You know, for example, in the city of Grand Rapids, there's an initiative going on. It's called a climate something.
Yeah,
And I have begged them to just keep their mouth shut because of their narrative is so wrong.
and it's complete, and the entire Grand Rapids Chamber of Commerce is against that narrative, which means most of the business community is against
Yeah.
it. So it's like,
Let us do it. Yeah, or so maybe that's what the conversation be, is what.
so
she
but there
described.
is a gap here, like, I hear what you're saying, because I can't say yes to everybody who wants me to come in and train them. However, I don't know that I necessarily want somebody from the city or county doing that training either,
Right.
because they don't have the expertise that really is required. Because the problem is you can't develop an educational program and it's not like cut and play. Like, if I'm not the one looking at the scenario and seeing the volume, seeing what materials generated, seeing the layout, seeing the situation, what I find is that the advice needs to shift enough that it's not easy to train, but somebody to go do that work.
It's always changing too.
It's always changing, and it's like every location has a different set of circumstances, and
Not only for the counties.
Right.
Mhm.
I think I'd cut this one probably.
Now that we have more information about.
I mean, it could be something that is part of this online hub. Like,
toolkit.
Right.
like here's resources that you can go to, like you can talk to your account commissioners, talk to what the resources are.
Well, and that would push people where we want them to go, which would be to, you know, the county managers or whoever it is. And then it doesn't get the county into that lane. It's pushing people to the businesses.
Situation too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, cause there are a million choices the business can make that's different. You really don't like this, you don't have a home for this material, then stop ordering that material, either purchase it and knock it off.
Totally.
Yeah.
Honestly, like. But the answer isn't to be able to recycle 100 more items. The answer is to have less items.
Place to work. Make it easy.
Ironic.
Okay,
See, you say that because you have experience, but right, if the county or the city, if somebody do this, they wouldn't have said that, you know. right? Oh,
That's
experience.
the problem.
Well, right. Thank you for that. Or a few.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to pay me $500 an hour though, I'll come teach you.
Yeah.
Right.
That's over the road, right?
No, I mean, like, seriously,
Right.
I would step them on, of course. Probably could do it about 2 hours.
Yeah.
I'll come and do it at night, on the weekend, early in the morning, whenever you want.
3 hours, could be 12, but
Let's milk this. If it's $500 an hour, let's make it.
I have
Could be
actually
30.
had people pay me that rate. I'm kind of not joking. But
5.
Yeah.
Some of them were combined.
Yeah.
Okay, guys, we narrowed it down to what I'm counting as 5. And I will go through them in numerical order. So the first is basically goal 5. It's the multifamily recycling expansion. Increasing access to recycling. And this is a study. It's now a study of it, of the question. Next in line, we have the drop off an HHW question and making improvements to that to serve more people and increase participation.
Power expansion at the existing 4 sites.
So one of the things that has to happen as part of the planning process is to do a full inventory and
Mhm.
understand what's out there for access and who's taking the waste and where, for the recycling materials and where they're going. So from that standpoint, there'll be an accounting of what's already there. Kim has great records of the sites, how they're being used, what the hours are. You probably get a lot of
Yeah.
public input into
Oh, yeah.
things. So she's gonna be the source of
Yeah.
a lot of information on the drop-off centers.
Yeah, and we're already doing a lot of evaluation right now currently with our sites, so. Yeah,
Have you been able to survey the people that are using your sites as to one, like why or what access don't they have that they're using
Yeah.
your sites?
we have, but the problem is the people that are coming to the sites are the ones that are okay with the hours.
Right.
So that's been my.
Yeah.
My thing, I say, I'm like, well, the ones that are already coming are the ones okay with the hours.
Going back to that survey, is that one of the questions that we wish we want the survey to answer?
Yeah, so, and that's one of my things I discussed with like my epi team, it's like, so their discussion items are, you have the purity of a survey, you don't want to change it too much because then you now have a different survey technically. So that's where, in my discussions with them is so one of the questions we talked about maybe asking in the next session is what we've thought about giving you guys 2 questions. And I said, well, maybe we'll ask that in April is what other surveys might this survey stem? So that we still have our pure, one. And, so we have our own recycling curie. But, is, what other surveys can we ask? And one of the ones, another thing, I want to get like out there. Again, staffing is always the thing or trying to get someone to go is, get people on the ground, because that's the only way we can really get the hours or something. You have to have someone out there and asking these questions, like, I don't know, like at grocery stores or something. They're like, hey, did you know we have these sites? And if so, if you didn't know, or if you did know, when would you want to come? That's the only way to really get that out, those questions,
Mhm.
or call them up and ask. But then if you call them up, hopefully they don't hang up. But
I guess one of the questions I'm
yeah,
wondering is the people that are paying to
Yeah.
drop off recycling.
yes.
Is that because of multifamily, they don't have access to curbside, or they have curbside availability, but they still want to drop it off because maybe it's, $1 cheaper through your program?
From the ones that we have asked that to, it is multifamily. Mostly multifamily. I haven't looked at the survey in a while.
Because you have addresses of everybody that pays for recycling, like,
Mhm,
could that narrow down, like, do
mhm.
they live in a single family home? Do they live in multifamily?
Multifamily, or so they don't have access. Dan looked at it more recently.
Yeah, we partnered and did one, actually.
Yeah.
Did a study, then we had a whole council go out there and ask a series of questions. And one of the questions was cost on
Yeah.
curbside, where they could bring it on their own time. So
Mhm.
they may not need it, so they don't have a recurring bill, I guess. So like some were snowbirds, some, but they didn't want the hassle of starting, stopping. Just, most of those retirees.
Yeah,
bringing it out there,
Yeah.
so,
yeah. So we did change it recently,
exactly.
not recently.
The other thing was, material. Like there are certain things you don't want in the curbside bin, but they can bring to this, whether it be a tire, electronic, or what have you. It's kind of, that was one of the other things. Yeah, and we're already kind of boiling down to how everything was a part of that.
Yeah.
Do
So,
we want to dig those out and incorporate that into our, I mean, I know it's a year and a half, 2 years out, but
that's where that was some of the other items that we talked about, possibly cross-referencing with others, but that's where Epi's like, okay, we're in the final report, they might. So we talked, yeah,
I'm willing
Yeah.
to, whatever we still have, we can give back to you so you can put it back into.
they still have it. Yeah. Yeah. So there's a lot of That's one of the things that we had talked about that could be incorporated into the final. And then that's where I thought, you know, with some of our extra funding for the MMP, that maybe I could, or seeing now that it's getting warmer, that maybe possibly I can find a free intern or someone that's willing to get a different survey, do a different survey based on our sites.
But if you want to.
Yeah,
Still bad.
yeah, yeah. I wanna build on it, I think, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, so now the EPI's more available and yeah, I think we can get some more. But that's a side topic. So
All right.
try not to get detoured.
Okay, next one for our waste diversion, in our waste diversion world is goal 8, community composting hub development. This is basically improving access to composting, and determining the best ways to do that. And next is, goal 3, which is the countywide waste characterization study. And I think this can look at, a lot of material in the county that never does get to landfill. That's more circular in nature, and give ourselves some credit for that. But also, understanding, you know, where waste is being generated and where it's going.
Is that goal 2 or goal 3? I'm
3.
confused.
It's goal 3, number
Yeah.
4 on her list.
The 4th one.
Okay.
Yeah, it is confusing, but yeah,
Hey,
It's
Countywide waste,
Yeah.
yeah.
this one.
countywide waste characterization study. Yes.
Okay, so
Yeah, it's goal 2.
Goal 2.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
That's fine.
yeah,
This went, that list went through some iterations.
Yeah.
And,
yeah,
it was being, modified up until today.
yeah,
So.
I get it. I just wanted to
Yeah.
make sure I was part of it.
yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
It's where I get.
Yeah.
My fingers too, quite frankly.
Yeah,
The last of the 5 that we've, pulled together today is the centralized recycling information website and guide. And I partnered that with the business recycling technical assistance. So creating, having it be a hub of information for residents, for businesses, for, anyone who needs information.
Confused.
Yes,
I thought the ones you read off in the beginning were in order of the most green of which ones we should do, right? Which was goal 8, 10, 7, 4, 5, or were you, when you first brought them over here,
mhm,
goal 8 was the one that had the most green, one we should do, right?
maybe.
Yeah, so.
Yeah,
I
8.
had here goal 2
Yes.
and 3, and that first, I replaced that with 1, 2, so the spirit tells that one we thought.
These are not in any order. They just happen to be the order that they were sitting in this stack. All of the ones that made this list were ones that were predominantly green. Goal 8 was all green. And it ended up, it's number 3 of the 5.
I think that's where you're getting,
Yeah.
confused, and it's, what was the original, like, of the top 5, what was
Yeah.
the original goal number of?
Goal number, depends on which list you're looking at.
I could.
Goal 8. Goal 8,
Goal 8 was 1.
which was community composting. Another one that was predominantly green. Yes,
that's how you need to know what is number
Well,
1.
I
Goal
think
10.
what happened was there were the original goal numbers, and then you put them into order of like
Yeah.
1 to 5.
yeah,
Yeah.
This was your goal. So
Wait, are we saying, so now
Yeah.
I thought I was.
Now you're-
confused, But are we saying that goal
I haven't
10
had you to.
and.
Now you're
goal
throwing everyone
12
off, Tom.
combined now? So this is
Well-
recycling technical assistant and centralized recycling information.
So goal
Yeah.
10 is the primary, which is a centralized recycling information website. When we discussed goal 12, which was business recycling,
We
talked
added-
about the idea of putting information on the recycling website that would serve as a source of support and information for businesses. So they have a place to look. So they have.
So far, I got a goal 8 and a goal 10/12.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
8,
They're 2 of the 5.
yep, 10,
Yeah.
12. Another one is, let me see,
Goal 5 and goal 6.
goal 5, multifamily, and that's turned into a study.
Yep.
And then, goal 3, which is waste characterization.
That would
I
be,
think that's the only one I'm not fulfilling.
Or was it 2?
yeah, no, you're right. It's 3 on some of our papers.
It's 3 on
Yeah.
some, it's 2 on the others.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the countywide waste characterization study. It's one of the first ones on your printouts.
Okay.
And then the last one is, was originally goal 6. This is drop off and HHW access network.
And I definitely think we have to understand that network.
Mhm.
And we'll send out a afterwards email to help.
I'm gonna narrow this down and
Bring it.
incorporate notes and comments that were made. And then we can start to figure out how to dial these in even more.
Can we go back to the waste characterization?
Yeah, I kind of want to.
So I
Yep.
thought we were gonna, we talked about the few studies with it.
There's been a ton of studies done and I don't feel like we're getting substantial.
In
new
Kent County
information.
and Ottawa County,
Mhm.
and
We're talking-
Ottawa County landfills.
I think we're talking about something different,
Okay,
that we're trying to get credit for what is actually diverted that we're not tracking.
that one I remember part of it.
Looking
Yeah.
at the data that we're not
Okay,
collecting,
so not necessarily,
not necessarily what you did before.
So maybe we should call it a material material.
It's not a waste characterization in the traditional
more,
sense.
more of a.
Yeah, we're not digging through a load. No.
What about like
Yeah,
material reuse analysis or something?
yeah, because maybe we're just getting stuck on the
Yeah.
verbiage.
Yeah, so, so, just word
What is the goal of the, what is the goal of the?
Just stop.
Where all this other stuff going aside.
I did have something going on that I had to like
So accounting for
text
what
back and forth, I thought I was paying attention.
It's
Yeah.
potentially,
Like
and
recycling the concrete. like that, you know.
Yeah, the
We're not
wood, the
touching it.
concrete,
We're not worried
the
about-
stuff that could go to landfill, but either the haulers, the customer,
So
they found other ways.
a
to
true
divert it
diversion rate.
That's not
Real
getting
numbers.
counted.
Yeah.
We have additional industries that are taking care of beyond the hall.
Mhm.
So, but then so you said PADNOS too, because a lot of the time, I think people aren't including scrap metal in those as well.
We're excluded from having.
Yeah,
All right.
And
so,
quite frankly, shouldn't be included because the goal of material management plans is to reduce landfill. Most people aren't
Mhm.
throwing away huge volumes
cars.
of metal that I will give them cash for, right? So that's why it's excluded. Because it confuses the issue. If you take my 4 billion pounds I recycle every year and put it in,
But what
It
about
completely
the,
confuses
what
the
about the
issue.
cardboard that goes to your facility? That's not being counted.
you comment, don't you?
I do, but I wonder, is that part of the diversion?
Should be looked at.
Now,
I think that's.
well, who
Yeah.
counts it? Because not
Yeah.
all haulers, like, I can't speak for Russ, but I'm gonna say somebody that doesn't have a recycling center.
Yeah.
They're not reporting what they take to you, to me, to waste. They're just not taking it to a landfill. So I don't know that all that is getting counted. So anyway, that's part of the whole.
Yeah.
I think that's part of it.
yeah, you're talking like the Home Depots or,
Or the
Yeah.
zero waste.
yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
so
Mhm.
this is where it gets, in my really clear. Like if it comes from a packer truck or a compactor box, I think it should be counted.
I agree.
If
Mhm.
it's brokerage that never touches our plant floor, I don't think it should be counted, because again, it's, it's a cash incentivized program that they,
And that would have
buy or
been
not
going
do
to
that.
landfill.
They're gonna do it.
Yeah, I agree.
So, if I need to help with some piece of it, that is getting kept on my floor, I'll help with that.
New volunteer.
Yeah,
So,
But we have to make sure we're not double counting it, because most of that's already being counted.
yeah.
true, but what about the folks that didn't originally recycle before, but then are broken it later?
And it still doesn't count, because because I'm not gonna be doing it unless they have truckload quantities.
Right, okay, I see.
And I'm more likely these days to be steering people to a waste hauler than I am to be. They have to be generating a truckload a week.
Right.
They have to be generating 40,000, just to be perfectly clear. If they're not generating 40,000 pounds a week, I'm gonna tell them they should call their waste hauler. On every one.
Yeah, no, I'm just saying, if they weren't doing it, then that's.
And I might tell them to call their waste hauler anyways, even if they're generating. Depending on their situation.
In your example,
Life's too
let's
short.
say I have one of us has a large customer and they're looking to do something, they get a baler, they start bailing. Potentially that is not being counted. I mean, it's being diverted.
Something to think about.
Yeah.
I thought,
More to do.
But you would also, if you're reporting on the tonnages of waste, that would be reduction. You could see the reduction. It's, so you're capturing it, no, sure.
Yeah.
yeah. But wouldn't any promotion, I don't know, my thoughts are, if I'm getting anyone to consider diverting, whether it's a business. So I'm just thinking about your comment, what you were saying, like, you were saying, let's say I got let's say a car person to increase for whatever reason, their car recycling. I'm thinking.
Nobody
Yeah.
that is in the car business,
Yeah.
whether it's an auto body
Yeah.
shop, a brake repair shop,
Yeah,
is not recycling. They're all recycling.
yeah, I know,
Worth a lot.
but yeah, I know. But I don't know, I'm just trying to think, like, if anyone's trying to do something better, just better.
If they're truly trying to do
Yeah.
something better where there's a problem, sure, but
Yeah,
scrap metal isn't the problem.
no, I'm not necessarily saying scrap metal. I'm just saying anything better that wouldn't necessarily, and say, maybe, I guess the thing is diverting from a landfill. Maybe, let's say they were going somewhere else with it. Necessarily, instead of going to the landfill, they decided to go, because it doesn't, everything either go to a landfill or somewhere, right? So maybe instead of going to the landfill with it at a commercial place, at a commercial direction, they were, because you were saying, I'm trying
There's
to think
all
of how
kinds
you
of
word
things
it.
that
Yeah,
we cannot capture data on. So
Yeah,
this would
I
be an
know.
example that
Yeah.
I think is worth consideration.
yeah,
And this is why the landfill reduction is such an important.
yeah,
Let's say I work with Magna, which I've done.
Yeah.
And I get them to eliminate 6 products from their supply chain
mhm,
so that it no longer exists. It's
Yeah.
not going to a recycler, it's not going to a landfill. That can't be tracked right now
yeah,
with anything, other than their landfill's going down. But in order to be able to actually track that landfill, you're gonna have to compare it to their production, and they're not gonna share those numbers.
Right.
Right?
Mhm.
Because if their production goes up 100,
I see what you're saying, because
Yeah.
you're saying you're already keeping it circular. Why, yeah,
well, and
It doesn't
it's
matter.
relationship to what? Just
yeah,
having your landfill number, it's in relation to population growth. It's
Yeah.
in relation to how many people are employed, how many,
yeah,
it's in relation to what,
yeah,
right? When manufacturing goes up because the GDP has risen and
Mhm.
people are buying more products domestically,
yeah,
landfill's gonna go up. Because there's
Mhm.
more people living in the state, there's more jobs,
Thanks, Dan.
yeah, more consumption, yeah,
there's more consumption.
yeah,
It's,
The grab food.
but the study could
He already said
potentially
that.
look at some of those mechanisms, like
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
with Claude and some of the new AI models.
yeah,
If in all the data that you have honestly,
Yeah.
with a lot of data. Could we start to draw some inferences of correlation between population?
That's the stuff that I was trying to get at
Manufacturing,
with
tax
survey,
base.
yeah, those questions,
GDP?
those are some of the things that I'm trying to get at, like, to get you guys to ask,
But if we have the data, then yes.
yes. Yes,
So we need real numbers.
so ask that, like, if I had the data, then maybe I could ask this question.
Yeah.
Yeah, if someone can ask
But I
that, yeah,
My guess is,
Focus on the things that are-
You'd like me to type an email address?
Yes.
right,
yes,
so my guess is if we did the really hard work, and got a lot more data.
Yeah.
You have to wait 5 years or something, but
Yeah.
then you could start asking those questions. As you
that's, yeah,
build a trend line
yeah.
and correlate all those different variables to each other.
Mhm.
I think we have an amazing amount of work, just taking all the data Tim has already done and
Yeah,
putting it into a quad and seeing what it comes
Yep.
back to some suggestions.
Yeah.
Where we keep them to the next 5
Yeah.
years without more data.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, but one of the things, yeah, my EPIC team did say this is the first survey, once we get the second one after the plan's implemented. Then we'll get a lot more like information. So the idea is the hope is to do this exact same survey essentially. After the plan is implemented, so then you'll have like a cause and effect kind of, and then like you said, more points on
But
them.
just to make sure we're not. Okay, so, because as
Yep.
soon as I hear waste characterization study, to me, that says something very specific, that I'm sending people out to landfills and measuring the waste.
We crossed that out
Yeah, I crossed off that,
Yeah.
that language.
and reworded it.
And what's the new wording? Say it out
But
loud.
it hasn't really been finalized. I just wrote material analysis.
Yeah,
Rather than a waste characterization, but I don't know if that's just what I scribbled down.
Some sort of reuse. But, you
Got a
know,
version somewhere in there.
yeah. And this isn't voted on or anything like that yet, or, yeah, so don't feel like this is a process. Think of it as that, it's a process. This is not the goals that are gonna be in the plan yet. So,
It's like a data-driven prioritization analysis.
and feel free to email suggestions on verbiage.
Baseline of current diversion.
well, that's a good point.
Yeah,
Good too. Okay.
Your study.
Oh, yeah, baseline study.
Yeah.
Love
man,
it.
we're on a roll
Study.
now.
Yep,
Good study.
that's a BSCD right there.
Russ is coming up with a team name or team logo.
I really like that.
That's what we're calling it, yeah.
Oh, that reminds me of Sean, I can't think of the name. The consultant thing, like, funny.
So thank you, everyone,
Thank you.
for participation.
Thank
It was great to hear everyone's thoughts and, that makes my job easier, for sure. But we will, prepare a follow-up email with a lot of this information in it and kind of digest it and put it out there. As Kim said, it's all still up for discussion as we figure out how this fits into the plan and how these goals will help drive those targets that we have to set.
Thank you.
So thank you for being here. Thanks for putting in the extra time today.
Thank you. So the first 7 that we didn't really get to that were like, hey, this is part of the requirement. This is a future meeting where we'll kind of go through some of these and some of refining those goals.
Yeah, I mean, those are all elements that are required to be in the plan. So, we don't get to choose.
I think the overreaching, yes, needs to be in the plan, but the specifics of, is this a goal and how we're gonna get there, maybe something
Yep.
that we're still talking.
Yep, how are we going to increase diversion?
Particular.
Kelly, do you need anything?
Okay.
Kelly, do you need anything?
Just a reminder that our next meeting is the 15th, 9 o'clock, special be back across the hall.
Tucked into a smaller room.
back to normal.